Greetings, Pokemon fans, and welcome back to Polywar's Wrath. My name is JD, and today we're doing a prediction video for an optimized playthrough of Pokemon Crystal using Meganium. Meganium is known as the herb Pokemon. What you're looking at right now on the screen is what Meganium usually looks like, green with a pink flower around its neck. Here's a shiny version, it's yellow with an orange flower around its neck. And here's a concept art I found online when I was looking for this, and it's purple with a kind of a violet-blue kind of flower around its neck. It's a pretty cool design, I like it. This Pokemon overall, I do like this Pokemon. It's just this game is not very kind to grass types. It gets a bad rap, but I do like this Pokemon. I do think the shiny for this is okay. It's not the greatest. It's not as good as Typhlosion, but it's pretty good for a starter. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below about the shiny. Which one's the best? Do you like the? I like the concept actually of this whole Pokemon. The concept to me looks the best. Let's go ahead and dive into what happened in a previous playthrough, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do in this playthrough to make it better. First thing, this was the second ever solo run I've ever done in Pokemon Crystal, so keep that in mind. I didn't know all the things that I know now, so this is like a very early run. That's why I said when I did this run, if you go back and watch the video, I said I'm going to run this again where I know the game better, and it's going to have it's going to result in a much better playthrough, which is, you know, what's going to happen here this week. I guarantee it. Second thing is we start out as Chikorita, so we do start out with lesser stats, and we have to evolve and grow. And the third part is Johto is not kind to grass Pokemon. Grass Pokemon have huge disadvantages, and I'll go over that here in a minute. But we beat the Elite Four in 1 hour and 47 minutes 58 seconds. We will obliterate that time. That time is, we'll probably beat the whole game in less time than 1 hour and 47 minutes, to be honest with you. So keep that in mind. And we also beat Red at 2 hours and 29 minutes and 4 seconds. So if you look at the time disparity between when we beat the Elite Four, that's about, 40 minutes? Almost a little over 40 minutes. So we're going to obliterate that time. I think we're going to do so much better in this playthrough. Let's go and go over the ins and outs of Pokemon and tell what we're going to do better or different in this playthrough. So first off, like I said, we're the herb Pokemon. We would evolve into this at level 32 from Bayleaf. However, we are not going to have to worry about evolution. We're going to start fully evolved. It is, like I said, a mono grass type, and we're in the medium slow growth rate, which is pretty much the way it is for most starter Pokemon. Now, the stats of this Pokemon are as follows: 80 HP, 82 attack, 100 defense, 83 special attack, 100 special defense, 80 speed, for a grand total of 525. Stats are pretty solid. It's a very bulky Pokemon. I'd like the attacking stats to be a little bit higher, but I'm not going to be picky. And we don't really have a weakness here when it comes to the stats. 80 speed is solid. You'll outspeed most things in this game. And then HP is 80. That's, like I said, those are two worst stats. And if your worst stat's 80, you're going to do pretty well as a Pokemon overall for the most part. However, like I said, there's some weaknesses we have that are pretty much exposed early in this game. So we are weak to flying, poison, bug, fire, and ice. The first gym is flying type, the second gym is bug type, the fourth gym, it's not poison type, but all the Pokemon there are ghost poison, so no effect there. And ice gym really isn't that hard, to be honest, because all the Pokemon are weak to grass moves. He has a Seal, which is weak to grass. Dugong is water and ice, so it's kind of weak to grass. And then the last Pokemon is ground type. It's ice ground, but Razor Leaf super effective on it, so you really don't have a problem with that gym, but that is a lot of weaknesses. And then we're just the ground, water, grass, and electric. And the benefit of that for this Pokemon, or the downside to that, is none of the gym leaders are ground, water, grass, or electric. And there's really not a lot of abundance of those types in Johto. So you don't have to deal with that. So that's the problem this Pokemon has, is you start out with such a deficit when it comes to what you have to face early in the game. It's complete opposite generation. Generation 1, like the first 4 gyms, you're either have an advantage or resist it, or you're neutral to. So yeah, but this is Generation 2 where that doesn't happen. So let's go and go over the moveset real quick. The moveset for this Pokemon, we start out with Tackle, Growl, Razor Leaf, and Reflect. Tackle is just a normal move. It's garbage, but 35 base power, 95% accurate. Growl will lower the opponent's attack stat. And Razor Leaf is a stab move. It's 55 with 95% accurate. But with stab, you're looking at about an 83 base power move. Reflect ups our, I think it's our physical defense. It basically cuts attacks in half. And then as you move down the moveset, we get Poison Powder. Don't know why we're not Poison type, but I guess because we're Grass type we get it. Synthesis will replenish our health. We're probably not going to use that in this playthrough at all. Body Slam may have a short shelf life, but eventually we'll replace that with Return. That was another disadvantage in the other one. I didn't know how to get Return in the first playthrough. Light Screen ups our special defense. It cuts moves, I think it's in half. Safeguard stops us from being hit by certain things and getting certain status conditions. And then the last move is Solar Beam, which we will not use. However, it is very powerful, 120 and 180 with Stab. There's a good strategy where you use Sunny Day, and then Solar Beam will help you sweep. However, in the part of the game where we want to use that, it's not very advantageous, so I'll go over that when it happens. But it's a very powerful move, and like I said, pair it with Sunny Day, it makes sure you don't have to recharge, and you can hit every turn for 5 turns. Useful, but not in this playthrough, and I'll go over why here in a little bit. And let's go over the TM moveset. TM moveset, Headbutt is definitely going to replace Tackle, 70 base power, 100% accurate. Curse, not going to use. Tox, not going to use. Rock Smash, not going to use. Hidden Power, we're going to go with Hidden Power Ice. Hidden Power Ice will give us the ability to pretty much Alt-Shift-Delete 2 of our landmark fights with Claire, and then the other one with Lance the Liar with the Flyers. So Hidden Power Ice will be super effective against both of them. Sunny Day, like I said, it brings out the sunlight. It does boost fire moves, so that's why it's not good to use that against Red, because he's going to come out with a Charizard, and then his Flamethrower is like boosted and more powerful, so it's not smart to do that. So that's why I don't like using Sunny Day. I avoid that strategy as much as possible. Sometimes it's the only strategy. With this Pokemon, we have other options. Sweet Scent, Snore, not going to use. Hyper Beam, not going to use. Protect, not going to use. Giga Drain, you can't get it until the post game, but we can definitely use it against the Kanto gym leaders and eventually against Red. Endure, not going to use. Frustration, not going to use. Solar Beam, already gone over. Iron Tail, not going to go over. Now, Earthquake, very good move. 100 base power, 100% accurate. With the strategy we're going to use with this Pokemon, it's going to be very effective. And there's a lot of things that are weak to Earthquake. This pretty much cancels out any problem we have with Ghosts, because Earthquake's 2 times effective. And then any problem we've ever had with like Magnemites, this cancels those out as well. So getting Earthquake, we have a resistance as a grass type, but having a ground move that is very powerful, and we don't have a bad attack stat, it's going to work very well together. Now again, return 102 base power when it's maxed out with your friendship. It gets a little bit of a boost from like the Pink Bow and from Whitney's gym, but 102 before all those things, and it's a solid move and it's great. And I did not have that in the first playthrough I did with this, so it's going to be great to have it in this playthrough. It's going to make a lot of things a lot better. Mud Slap will have its use. It's going to be useful against the Ghost type Pokemon. Yeah, it's definitely going to be used. And with the strategy I'm going to use with this, I really think it's going to be extremely helpful, and we'll have it on our moveset longer than we probably would usually have it. But you'll see why here in a minute, why it's super important to our strategy. Double Team, Swagger, Sleep Talk, Attack, not going to use Rest. Potentially, Rest could be used. Attract, not going to use. Fury Cutter, not going to use. Cut, Strength, and Flash, all going to be used outside of battle, but I won't use them in battles. Going over that, the moveset of this Pokemon, it is not super broad, not super elaborate, but it is good enough that we can beat the game with this. Now, here's where we have to make a decision. And the decision we have to make is what move do we want to use via breeding. There are some horrible options. Counter, Flail, Leech Seed, and Vine Whip are horrible options. However, there are 2 very good options that we can use in this. So, for example, Ancient Power, Rock move, 60 base power, 100% accurate. Only has 5 power points, but it can hit the Omni Boost, and you get a huge boost in stats. It's very rare when it happens, but it can happen. This makes the first 3 of the first 4 gyms pretty obsolete. Flying type Pokemon are going to go down in 1 shot. Bug type are weak to Rock, and one of them is 4 times weak to Rock. Even when you get to Whitney, I mean, it's a Rock move, it's physical, it's going to do pretty decent damage. But then you get to Morty, and Morty's going to do bad against this as well. So there's a lot of advantages that Ancient Power throws us. However, I think we're much more needing of the move Swords Dance. Swords Dance, what it does, it ups your attack stat by 2 stages. And when that's done, you can just obliterate teams when you get this set up. As much as Ancient Power would definitely fix the things in the early game, it doesn't fix things in the late game. And this move will be replaced in the late game. Whereas Swords Dance, it's going to give us a little bit of a disadvantage because we have 1 less move slot we actually have because we have to keep this. But Swords Dance will be very useful. Even early, like Mud Slap is a physical move. It's going to make Mud Slap very effective against a lot of things. Tackle is going to make it very effective against a lot of things because you can up your attack stat by 2 stages. Every time you do, you can do it up to 3 times. It's going to be a very powerful move. It's going to be very useful. Like I said, we do have to hang on to it for the entire game. However, it's going to be worth it because it's going to make a lot of things that would have been problems to us clean sweeps. And we don't have an event move with this, and we do have a prior evolution, like I said earlier. I said we can get Petal Dance. It's 70 base power, accurate, but you get confused when you get Petal Dance, so we're not going to even mess with that. I'd rather just avoid the confusion altogether. But yeah, that's our moveset. So let's go back to the main slide, and I'll talk a little bit about the playthrough. So first off, going to play fully evolved, so that's going to be a huge advantage. We don't have to go face Bellsprout Tower. It's going to make the early game faster. We have decent moves so far in the early game. And like I said, with Swords Dance, it's going to make it so we can just badge boost on the first Pokemon. It gives us a lot of opportunities to sweep. Not every playthrough or every fight will be like that. It's just some of the landmark fights. It does make the landmark fights a lot easier. If you don't know what a landmark fight is, it's something I just call the primary fights in the game. The gym leaders, your rival. You can't progress the game unless you beat these things. So that's what I mean by a landmark fight. So what do I think is going to happen with this game? Well, with the Elite Four, I think if we get this done under an hour and 10 minutes, I'll be tickled pink. Took us an hour and 47 minutes before. I think we'll gain 30 minutes easily, maybe as much as 40 minutes easily, because this Pokemon, it's not as bad as you think. It's just it's a lot of prep, and you got a lot of understanding of how to play the game to make this Pokemon effective. And unfortunately, that takes time. So that's where it's going to be at a deficit compared to the other starters. So that's the first part, and then beating Red. How fast we beat Red? If we beat Red in under an hour and a half, between an hour and a half and an hour and 40 minutes, I'll be happy. As long as it's done sooner than it did the Elite Four on the last playthrough, I'll be happy. So as long as under an hour and 47 minutes, I'll be content with that. But my goal is to get this between an hour and 30 and an hour and 35 minutes, because I think this Pokemon can do well. And if we can get all the way to Red without having to get rid of Swords Dance, huge advantage for us. He does have some tough Pokemon. He does have some things that are going to be difficult. However, with Swords Dance is going to kind of alleviates a lot of those problems. But that's my prediction. That's what I think is going to happen with this Pokemon. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. How fast you think we'll beat the game? Which of these shinies do you like? Go back and watch the original playthrough. I think you'll see that there's going to be a night and day difference between how we play. There's also a night and day difference in the overlay. I didn't have the overlay back then. I just did what I showed you there. But let me know what you think. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time.